Hello and welcome back to the channel. We are doing a shelving review of my Star Wars figures, and I've been posing out quite a few of them in the cabinet display, including this one, Chewbacca, played by Peter Mayhew, and he's holding his iconic bowcaster weapon there. And this is the pose I've had him in for the past couple of months. I'm about to change it out. I'll just give you some close-ups. I have seen the version of this figure, Chewbacca, Episode 4, A New Hope, where by coming close on that head sculpt, the hair is swept back, whereas on this one, the hair is kind of coming forward. And I do prefer this look to Chewbacca. So I'm going to put him into his pose, and then he'll go back in the cabinet display. Just getting another angle there. Okay, so I'll put him into his pose and show you what he's going to look like when he goes back in the display. So that's his new pose. I've lifted the weapon up a little bit higher, sort of rotated his body. And it's not bad. But what you'll see next is a couple of other figures that I'm going to have him standing next to. So I'll bring them out after you've seen this. But I do like that. For a figure like this, he's kind of bulky. He is pretty articulate. So that is Chewbacca, played by Peter Mayhew, in his new pose. Let's bring out the next one. So this, of course, is Han Solo, who was played by Harrison Ford. And this is the pose I've had him in for over a year now. I did originally get this figure and take the trench coat off, and he looked very much the Han Solo that we're used to, but I thought, you know what, he came with the trench coat, let's put it back on. And this is what they call the Endor fatigues, and that's when he appeared in Return of the Jedi in this trench coat, and he went down to the moon of Endor, or is it the planet Endor, with a small military rebel task force who were there to destroy the field generator, which was protecting the shielding around the Death Star. Not quite sure if I said that right, but you kind of get the gist if you've been a Star Wars fan. And to me, there are kind of qualities there showing the Han Solo mannerisms, but I've seen better ones on the Episode 4 A New Hope figure of Han Solo. But what we'll do now is get him into his new pose. So that's his new pose. Just got him firing that weapon, really. Not bad. And I'll have him standing next to Chewbacca. Got a bit of a light issue, but ignore that. So let's put it on pause. So that's the pair of them there, standing side by side, Chewbacca and Han Solo. I recently watched the Han Solo story, and still in the same conclusion. Why make it? I thought part of the fun of this duo was the fact they're their backstory, which is where there was a bit of a mystery as to how those two met. But when they put it into a film, I just thought it was better that they hadn't have done it. There were a few good things about the Han Solo story that I liked, but there was no point making it, in my opinion. It would have been better just to leave these two as a mystery as to how they got together. So I will end the Han Solo review and bring out the next figure, which is tied into these two here. So your next one is Princess Leia in her bounty hunter's disguise, and this is how she appeared in the early part of Return of the Jedi, when she came to Jabba the Hutt's palace and walked into the throne room with Chewbacca as prisoner to negotiate the reward on capturing Chewbacca. And this is the pose I've had her in for the past couple of months. And I sometimes refer to her as E-Buzz, well, the bounty hunter that she's pretending to be, only because during the dialogue between Jabba the Hutt and her, I just heard this word E-Buzz mentioned, and I'd have never looked up the credits to find out what the official title of this bounty hunter is, but I just call the bounty hunter E-Buzz. But I'm going to put the helmet back on now and put her into a new pose. So the helmet is back on, as you can see. I haven't done much with this pose. I haven't changed anything about the arm positions on the pose or the leg positions. All I've done is turn the head round the other way, but it works for me. And although I don't mind her without the helmet when I pose her, this is the look I tend to go for more. So yeah, when this figure was around, they wanted £28 to £30 for it, but I'm a bargain hunter and I saw it in a toy outlet that I don't normally go into, where they were trying to get rid of a load of Black Series Star Wars figures, and I got this, I think, for around £8.99. So I'm going to pose her now in the on the platform with the other two figures, and that's how you're going to see them when they go back into the cabinet display. So this is how they're going to go into the cabinet in their new poses, and I'm pleased with that. And they'll probably stay that way now for a good while, probably going up to Christmas. And when I get round to do my Christmas tour review, you're more than likely going to see them looking like this. So let's come in one last time on Han Solo and his new pose. Han Solo played by Harrison Ford. Then to Chewbacca and his new pose. Chewbacca being played by Peter Mayhew. And finally to Princess Leia in a bounty hunter's disguise, played by Carrie Fisher. Now sadly, these two individuals, Peter Mayhew and Carrie Fisher, are no longer with us. I do think that is sad, but such is time. And if you think that Star Wars first came out in 1977, I believe, we've seen these guys around for a long time, but they've left behind a great legacy for generations of kids and adults who like to be kids to come to enjoy those films. I must have confessed I'm not a fan of the recent 3 Star Wars films. I have collected them because that is something I do, but I like the look of the 3 of them, and I'm happy to put them back into the display this way. So let's move on to the next figure. So this is Obi-Wan Kenobi in his Tatooine fatigues, and in the series Obi-Wan, he goes to live on Tatooine, and this is the kind of look he had initially, or one of the looks. But for the longest time, ever since I got this figure, I had him with the hood up, because I did like that mysterious Jedi hood look. But this is the pose I've had him in for the past couple of months, and I'm now going to show you something different, but it's not going to be majorly different because I just find this guy a bit too fiddly at times to pose. So I'm just going to do something very simple to change out that look. So that's his new look. All I've done is squared him on and turned his head forward, and that's good enough. Well, it's good enough for me anyway. So that is Obi-Wan Kenobi, Master Obi-Wan Kenobi. I saw the first season of Obi-Wan, I really enjoyed it. I've not got round to seeing the second season. I'm not even sure if it's out, but at the end of the day, this is Obi-Wan Kenobi played by Ewan McGregor, and that's his pose, and that's the way he's going to go back in the cabinet. So these are the 2 Darth Maul figures I have, but the one we'll be reposing is this one. I call him my Gamerverse Darth Maul. And that's the pose he's been in for a while now. But I've just posed out this Darth Maul again. And that hood is well fiddly. To try and get it to look natural on the head, not as easy as it looks, but I've tried to create that Sith look. But this pose is the first time I'm posing him holding the lightsabers as separate weapons. And I've had him out of these, well, I call them robes, or Sith robes, but I'll put him back into them again because I think obviously he's at his best when he looks like this. But I'm going to take him off the platform because I'm going to be concentrating on posing him. And I did make some robes for him as well, some Sith robes, and he did look good. But obviously, since I've bought my other Darth Maul, there's no need to pose him that way. So we're going to get him into a different pose, and I'll take my other Darth Maul off the platform. So I thought about this one, where he's gripping the lightsaber with both hands, but I've done that in the past. So I'm going to give you the one that is going to go back in the cabinet display. But that was one I've done in the past, which I thought I'd show you on camera. So I'll show you that pose now, his new pose. So this is it, kept it simple. Not bad. Yeah, I kept it simple. I was actually going to get the other lightsaber that comes with this figure and pose him with that, but I decided not to. I've actually given that lightsaber to my Emperor Palpatine figure as he appeared in Return of the Jedi. That Emperor look, the black robes, and he does look quite good. You've seen that on the channel. If you scroll back, you'll find it. The Emperor being posed out with a lightsaber, but this is the one I'm going to use for Maul, the single lightsaber look, and quite pleased with it. Nothing complicated, straightforward and simple. So let's start to wind things up. So these guys are not technically together on my shelving unit, but because I've posed out him about a week ago, I put that blast effect on his gauntlet cannon, and that's off one of my Marvel Legend figures. And I thought, would it fit? And it does, and it brings out a dynamic that I like. Paz Vizsla, and he was in the Mandalorian series, and at first he didn't like Mandalorian, but they came to respect each other. Unfortunately, they killed him off, which was sad, because I liked him, and I like him as a figure. But I just posed him out a couple of weeks ago, so I thought I'll put him alongside Mandalorian there, because I've just posed him, and this is a different one to one that he was in before. Liking that. And he's my recent Mandalorian figure, because my other ones have sculpted capes. This one has a cloth cape, which you can just about make out where the jetpack is. So they're the new poses of those figures. Even though they're not on the same section, I thought I'd do Paz Vizsla while I'm doing the Mandalorian. So let's bring out the final two. So these are the final two, Jango Fett and Boba Fett, father and son. So I've had Jango posed out like this. Can't even think how long, it's been a while. Wanted to see him without the helmet, and that's probably the best head sculpt I've done of him on this level, the 6.5 inch figure level. But I'm going to pose him again with his helmet back on. And then of course there's Boba Fett, who technically should have the same features as his dad, but that head sculpt doesn't look very much like that head sculpt. But nonetheless, it's not bad. I do like seeing him without the helmet. But we're going to basically repose these two and put them with the helmets on. Okay, the helmets are on, but now I'll put them in the poses I had in my head. Not quite feeling it. Not bad, but not the same as it looked in my head. So I'll try one more, and it will be the last one. And we'll leave it there. So let's go for this. So this is the last one. Let's come to Jango Fett first. And I do prefer that one. A bit more dynamics going on. I've widened his stance. And I like that. Coming to Boba Fett now. I think I could tweak this better, but I'm going to wind up the review and work on him off camera. But one more thing now before I sign off. It would have been good in my imagination, and it's always going to be about my imagination, if they'd not killed off Jango Fett in Attack of the Clones, and I believed he was killed on the planet Geonosis when the Jedi took on the Separatists. He was killed by Mace Windu, Jedi Master, played by Samuel L. Jackson. It would have been good if they had a series where it was just these two guys, father and son, and they became notorious as a couple of bounty hunters who were ruthless and feared even by the Empire. That would have been a good series, but sadly, it was not to be. So let's just get one quick close-up on Boba. Will tweak his pose. And one last look at Jango Fett. So that's the end of the Star Wars shelving review. Those are all the figures I've posed out lately. There's quite a few in there that I need to change out, including the Mandalorian section. Paz Vizsla, as you saw earlier, was on the Mandalorian section. I like to go and pose all them figures out and show you that later on camera, but that was today about posing out the top shelf and these figures. So on that note, I hope you've enjoyed what you've seen. Thanks for watching the channel, and I'll see you again next time.